Update. I, male 26, blew up my wedding by uninviting my groomsmen. How do I fix things? Original post. 2 weeks ago, I had my bachelor party. I was very hesitant about having one in the first place, mainly because I don't like the connotation/expectations behind a traditional bachelor party. My best man and all my groomsmen knew this. We've known each other for a very long time, since childhood, and we're all super close. My groomsmen are male 28, male 28, male 29, best man is male 25. Before I met my fiancé, I was not a good person. I manipulated and used women, physically and emotionally, all the time, and thought it was cool/fun. This was partly because of my then unresolved trauma from women in my childhood. When I graduated from college, I started taking care of myself, physically, emotionally, and most importantly, mentally. I was able to afford therapy and really worked hard on myself to change and become a better man. My best man knew about this and has followed my journey and has been generally very supportive. He too has started to see how toxic our behavior was, and is basically more or less on the same path to become a better person. Our other friends? Not so much. But it's not something that affects our friendship, and they are much better with their behavior in comparison to when we were younger. I met my fiancé shortly after the changes I made. My fiancé really helped me heal from my trauma and has embraced me with all my flaws. I feel so loved and cared for, and she's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. Not to mention that her family has welcomed me since day one. I've opened up to her about everything, so she knows about my past, and she's well aware of my friend group and how they are. She ended up actually encouraging me to have a bachelor party so I wouldn't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I told the boys I didn't want anything to do with strippers or strip clubs or any variation of undressed girls. They agreed. We went to a hotel with a casino and gambled for most of the afternoon. In the evening, we went back to our room and drank some more, and by the time it was 8/9 p.m., I was completely wasted. This is where things took a turn for the worse. My groomsmen were talking to a group of girls when we were gambling in the afternoon who were doing a bachelorette party. They invited them to our room, and they showed up at 9. So when they showed up, things got crazy. We all went to a club, at which point I pretty much blacked out. I remember telling my best man to take me back, and that I didn't feel good about being this drunk at a club, but he just sort of shrugged and laughed it off. Next thing I remember is coming in and out of consciousness while one of the bridesmaids from the other party was unzipping my pants in her hotel room. I tried to push her away, but kept blacking out, and I even mustered enough energy to say out loud, "Please stop, I don't want to." She kept going, and I ended up finishing. When I woke up the next morning, I was back in our hotel room. I thought I had a terrible nightmare, but I slowly started remembering everything. I began to have a panic attack. I woke everyone and tried to find out what happened. My groomsmen were being extremely dismissive and not taking it seriously, but I pressed, until one of them admitted that they thought it would be funny to convince one of the bridesmaids to take me back to her room and give me one more night of fun before I become trapped. I lost it and freaked out. I left without them and have been staying with my cousin until I figure out what to do next. I called my fiancé and told her that I need to postpone the wedding. I need time to think. Now the boys and my fiancé have been blowing up my phone. I've only been responding to my fiancé and reassuring her that it's not her, it's something with me. I sent one text 1 week later to my boys' group chat telling them they are all uninvited. I obviously told my fiancé about this but didn't explain why. She, her family, and all the relatives of my friends have been calling me a complete a-hole and blowing up my phone nonstop about the issue. The only people that know what happened are me, the boys, and my cousin. I don't have any other family, and my best man said he had no idea what they were up to and feels awful for not being there to stop/protect me. I feel so lost. I haven't slept for days. I can't eat. I can't think. I can't breathe. I can't even look my fiancé in the face. I keep making excuses about why I'm staying with my cousin, and the "I'm working through something" response is wearing thin. I feel sick every time I text her because I cheated. Even though I didn't want it, I finished, and I feel like a horrible person. It feels like I regressed, and with my history, I can't trust myself anymore, and how can I expect my fiancé to? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. You didn't cheat. You were forced upon. You were blackout drunk and told this woman no, and she continued anyway. This is not your fault. You need to understand this. You need to start by telling your fiancé about this. She deserves to know the reason why the wedding is postponed, because she is totally going crazy wondering what the heck happened. And inviting the groomsman is totally fine regarding the circumstances. I hope your fiancé will understand her reasons why, and I think when she realizes how distraught you are, she will get the gravity of the situation. But you need to tell her, soon. This is the comment you need. If you didn't want it and you said no and it wasn't respected, that is a crime. You need emotional and therapeutic support, and you need to tell your fiancé because her not knowing is just a special kind of hell for her. These guys are not your friends. They're bad guys. Don't invite them to a damn thing ever again. How do I even start a conversation about this? I don't even know what I would begin to say to the love of my life. Okay, dude, you got violated. Like legit, that's what you just described. It is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to be honest with your fiancé. Tell her exactly what happened. You got drunk around people you trusted and then learned later they planned to have a lady sleep with you while you were barely conscious, and that you will now be going no contact with them. Because you absolutely should go no contact with them. For like ever. Who knows how she'll take it? But even if you don't think you deserve her, she deserves the truth. If you keep telling her nothing, eventually she'll either get told a lie by one of your friends, or she'll think you got cold feet and or don't love her anymore. I know you're blaming yourself, even though, and I can't stress this enough, it is not your fault. So think of speaking to her as the first step to making things right. Then give her whatever time/space she needs to process. Then go to a therapist, or find a support group, and never be around those friends again. That's honestly just as important as speaking to her. She used her mouth, so I don't know if it counts as that. I'm honestly terrified to say something. I'm scared of the backlash I might get for claiming I was touched against my will. I don't know if people will believe me, and I'm really torn and feel helpless. Any unwanted physical intimate action is that crime. If you know your fiancé and how she deals with your trauma, it should go all right. You don't have to tell others what happened, just that they did something unforgivable and are no longer invited. That you want to hear nothing about them and want nothing to do with them. Guys don't normally come forward with something that happened to them. Your fiancé, if she's a good person, which I believe she is given what you told us, then she should believe you and help work on assisting you through this. Currently, I'd suggest getting a piece of paper and a pen and just writing all your feelings out. The bad, the worse, what you want to tell her, what you don't, etc. You don't have to give it to her when you are done if you don't want. But it will help. It will take some of that weight off your shoulders. Now for the first update. So many of you have reached out to me and offered support. I appreciate all of you. I've decided to tell my fiancé everything. I've been convinced from the sheer amount of people telling me it would be the right next move. I don't know much, but I do know that when hundreds of people tell you the same thing, they're probably correct. I texted her to meet tomorrow. I'm taking my cousin with me, and I think I'm going to try to explain and have my cousin / this post as a backup. She seemed sort of relieved / anxious that I agreed to meet. I'm aware that this could destroy everything we have, so I really hope it all works out. Thank you all for pushing me to tell her. I'll try to update as soon as I can. Second update. After reading through all the comments and getting a lot of supportive DMs, I decided to tell my fiancé everything. I took my cousin with me and had a speech prepared on paper. We decided to meet at our home, so my cousin and I drove to her. We pulled up to the driveway and my heart was pounding out my chest. I told my cousin I need to turn around and I couldn't do this, but cousin insisted and pushed me through it. As soon as I got out of the car, my fiancé opened the front door and stared at me with an emotionless face. I thought we got off to a horrible start and I was just dreading going inside. We walk in and my fiancé directs us to our living room. At this point, no one has said a word, and you can cut the tension with a butter knife. My cousin and I sit on one couch and my fiancé is sitting on a couch to the right of us, closest to me. I open by telling her that I'm really sorry about how I've been acting, and that she's done nothing wrong. I pull out my paper letter and start shaking a lot. I try reading the first couple of sentences, but eventually start to break down and have panic attacks / cry. My cousin grabbed the letter and continued reading the letter until I was able to grab it back and continue. The letter read like my first post, had a lot more apologies and emotion in it though. When I finished, I looked up and saw her extremely distraught and upset. She just stood up, said she needed a minute to think and went to the bathroom for a good half hour. I didn't know what to think. I was devastated and it was killing me inside. I didn't know what she was thinking or what she was going to do next. When she opened the bathroom door, she just ran up to me and hugged me and started bawling her eyes out. She kept saying that she was sorry about what happened to me and that she wishes she was there to protect me. We spent the rest of the night talking about it. She was very supportive and was just mad that I didn't come to her sooner. She's furious with my ex-best man and immediately texted her family, without all the details, to explain my side. She said something along the lines of, they did unforgivable things. We've decided to postpone the wedding while we both figure out how to work through this. My fiancé has already helped me connect with mental health resources that deal with his ordeals. I've already been to 2 sessions this week. She's been extremely supportive and comforting. We're looking into next steps with the police to report the crime, though I don't have much evidence. I honestly don't care if I get justice at this point. I'm just glad my fiancé believes me. I told her I was scared she would think I was lying because of my past, but she said she knows I've changed and that she fell in love with the person I am today. As for my best man, I've got no contact since. It's only been 6 days since I told my fiancé, so I'm still working through some stuff. In the meantime, I'm happy to have the love of my life in my arms at night. I can rest easy at night. The nightmares have slowed/stopped. I'll try to update when I can in the future. Thanks for the advice. Wow, OP. Your friends essentially conspired together to get you violated. Never give those guys any more of your time. They aren't worth it. I'm glad to hear you're on demand now, and your fiancé sounds like an absolute treasure. Cherish her always, OP. God bless. He needs to drop the whole lot of them. This is a bit of a gendered problem, unfortunately, in that the men will think they're doing him a favor and won't see the crime. I can't imagine any of the women I know conspiring this way. They would see this as obviously for what it is. I'm so happy for you and your fiancé. I'm glad you are working through this together. I'm sorry this happened to you. I can't imagine what that was like. I'm really happy that you gave an update to this story. I know it's not over yet, and you may have a long road to recovery, but I'm glad to hear that she is everything you needed from her. Really relieved this didn't turn out worse than it needed to be, even though it's so terrible what happened to you. I'm so sorry. I know this sounds manipulative, but under the circumstances, I think it's necessary. You need to text your friends and set them up to admit in print what they told you about telling her to come in. Don't do a big long text confronting them. Act like it's not as big of a deal as it is. Say, I told you I didn't want to do that. I asked to go back to the hotel because I was blackout. Make them admit you were that drunk. Get them to say they asked her to go in the room. This will be your evidence of the crime so you can file charges. You can file a charge against the girl, and you can file charges against your friends for at the very least reckless endangerment. Get an STD test. Can also be used as evidence. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I actually cried reading both posts. The therapists will be able to provide the courts with documentation about your mental health and how affected you were with this trauma. This will include how your life drastically changed overnight. Have your doctor give you a note to show your employer when you get a medical leave. Yes, take a medical leave regardless of if you feel like you can actually work. This will prove it impacts your ability to lead your normal life. This one might be far, but can you still not eat or drink? Go to the emergency room for dehydration. You'll have even more medical records to prove the follow-up effects. I would say with this type of evidence, you will have a stronger case and chance of winning with a reckless endangerment. Don't admit to anyone ever these steps are intentional except your fiancé. Hire a lawyer to at the very least see what your options are. I'm not a lawyer, but my brother is a victim of domestic violence. His medical records of ER visit for the time he threw something at her, therapy notes, work history, etc. significantly helped his lawsuit and his restraining order against her. I would honestly even consider trying to get a restraining order from your friends as well. Show them in the course how traumatic it is, that you don't even feel safe being around your ex-friends. Show everyone, including them, how incredibly serious this situation is. Fight, don't back down. After all your hard work, you don't deserve to have this situation anywhere near you. I'm so sorry. I saw someone comment get hotel footage. Yes, maybe try and get some bar footage if you're barely coherent and blacked out. The hotel one could also show that you didn't go in with the girls originally. They could try and say, oh, we all agreed to go back together. No, show them you went in alone with just your friends. Footage can be subpoenaed if the business deny you accessing the footage. Now for the third update. This will be my last update for a while. I just want to thank everyone for the kind words and support in my inbox. Some of you even opened up about similar experiences, and that really helped. I'm not even close to being okay mentally. I constantly have panic attacks and anxiety randomly throughout the day. Sometimes unrelated things can trigger an attack, but I'm trying my best to fight and survive. My fiancé has been my rock, and her family, her dad, mom, and sisters have been angels. They've even hired a private investigator to help with our police report that we're filing. My fiancé's dad is well connected in the legal world, and is connecting me with a lawyer who'll be pretty much taking lead with my case. In the meantime, all I can do is try working through my issues and trying to move on. It's hard, not just for me, which kills me inside. I can see the pain this situation has caused my fiancé. I can see it in her eyes. It's hard not to blame myself. I've written personal letters to the parents of all of my ex-friends, groomsmen, explaining things. I mailed them out yesterday. I'm closing that chapter of my life, as I've also mentioned that in those letters. What they do with that information is their choice. As for our wedding, we have decided to revisit things next year. Maybe sooner depending on everything we're dealing with right now. We know we don't have to rush and can just take our time. I don't know if I'll ever be okay or if the panic attack/anxiety will ever go. I hope the next time I update, I'll feel like I can breathe again. Till next time. Tomorrow, I'm breaking off my engagement. Plus updates. Original post. Last week, I, 25 male, found out that my fiancé, 24 female, cheated with her boss. I'm not sure of his age, but he's in his mid-40s, I think. I also know he's married and has 3 kids. This happened last November on a work trip while out of town, and they hooked up 3 times. How do I know? Well, her boss's wife messaged me on Facebook and told me. She's also provided me with screenshots of texts and emails between them. Graphic discussions about how they cheated on us. Also, how they got over on us, and joked about it. But then she'll tell him in the same text that she loves me so this can never come out. The boss's wife, who seems very sweet when I met her at company functions before, is understandably enraged and heartbroken, and is having him served with divorce papers tomorrow. She's also going to drop a friendly email to their HR department. So, I'm sitting here on my phone typing this, while fiancé is across from me on the sofa on a computer, planning a honeymoon trip for a wedding she has no idea is never going to happen. She's completely oblivious to the fact that her life is going to fall apart tomorrow. I don't feel any sympathy at all since mine fell apart last week. And every time I read those texts and emails, I feel like someone is sticking a knife in my heart. 3 years down the drain. Though I'm just thankful I found out before we got married. I guess there's that to be thankful for. She has no idea, but I took a vacation day tomorrow. And after she leaves for work, I'm going to go around my place and collect up all her stuff, box it up and have it sitting by the door. Then I have to figure out if I can get any of the money I've already laid out for the wedding back. It was supposed to happen in October, but yeah, that's not happening. And when she comes home, I'm going to throw her out of my apartment and out of my life. I've debated posting all those screenshots on her Facebook page, but my sister talked me out of it. I also debated calling her parents. I feel bad for them as they are such great people, and I'm going to miss her family. They've accepted me as one of their own, and I don't know what they're going to say. But I've decided that she can explain herself to them. I don't want to hear her excuses or her lies. At this point, I just want her out of my life, so I can figure out what the heck I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I'm invested now. Let us know how tomorrow goes. I'm sorry this happened to you. Yes, we want to hear an update, OP. But please tell the boss's wife not to call HR until after the divorce is final. If he loses his job, he could try to go after her for alimony, and she does not want that. I would honestly send a quick text to her family, letting them know why you are calling off the engagement. This way, she can't turn it around on you and try to make you out to be the bad guy. Best of luck, OP. Keep us posted. OP needs to hear this advice. It is golden. If they reach out, tell the parents. If they ask for proof, deliver it. Mainly so she doesn't spin it into a whole web of lies of saying it was a misunderstanding. Yes, I'm petty. But if the truth doesn't come out, she might make you seem to be the a-hole of an ex-fiancé who broke up due to a misunderstanding. I am thinking I'm going to have to show her parents what I have, because when she shows up at their house and tells them I broke up with her, they're going to be shocked. I would call them after you get her to leave and let them know what happened, and you have the proof if they're interested. By the time she gets to their house or calls them, they'll already know the story. OP, also be careful when having her leave your apartment. When people feel backed in a corner, they do some crazy things. If you can have someone there with you who can serve as a witness in the event things take a turn for the worst. Ultimately, protect your peace, King. Now for the first update. Wow, I cannot believe the response this post has gotten. I can safely say the bomb has dropped. Around 8 or so, my phone started going nuts. Calls from her with voicemails after each call. I knew right away what's going on. So I immediately called my sister to tell her that it was happening. She told me to stay strong, and if I wanted her to, she would come to my place and sit with me. So she's doing that. Then I had a very difficult phone conversation with my ex's mother. Jesus, I can't believe I have an ex now. Difficult because this woman has done nothing to deserve the pain I could hear in her voice. Her whole family has been nothing but accepting to me since day one. I calmly as I could explain the situation to her mother and told her that I can't find it in myself to forgive this and that I'm going to be asking her to move out. Although she was very upset, her mother seemed to understand why I feel this way. She offered as well to come to my place and help my ex get her things. I think this is a pretty good idea. Then I texted a few of my closest friends about the situation. I have been getting bombed with text from them since, but have said as soon as I can I will talk to them, but right now I am completely overwhelmed. I listened to one voicemail from my ex, and it was what I expected. Crying and asking me to call her because we really need to talk. I called her back and she didn't answer, so I started to text when she called me. Immediately, she's telling me how sorry she is. Why did I call her mom? Why did I involve other people? So I lost it. It asked how she thinks I feel having to go get tested for STDs because my fiancé cheated on me. Do you know how embarrassing that is? So at least she didn't deny what she did. I told her she needs to come this afternoon and get her stuff out of my place, and that we are finished. She said we'll talk more later, but I cut her off and said, there's not a whole lot to talk about, is there? I also asked her how her and this guy could talk crap about me and his wife. Like they made fun of her for gaining weight after having 3 kids. This poor woman didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve this. I also said something to her about not trying to say she felt pressured because the guy's her boss. Her texts show clearly that she was a more than willing participant in all this. I guess she's got to meet with HR at work today, and the whole place is gossiping about the two of them. I can't feel sorry for either of them at this point. I'm already emotionally drained. It is not even 10 a.m. where I'm at. So once she's done with her HR meeting, I guess she's going to come here and get her stuff. I'm hoping it goes without much drama. My sister should be here, and I hope her mom comes with her. My landlord also says she'll be around, and she's also going to have my locks changed, hopefully, either this afternoon or tomorrow. I know this is like a long babbling post, but I was trying to remember a lot of things I said, and my mind is raving right now. Sorry this is happening to you, but you are dealing with this trauma like a boss. Long road ahead of you, but you have got this, dude. Go now, contact and focus on you. Probably not the best idea to say he's dealing with it like a boss. As someone who went through breaking off an engagement like OP, it hurt at first, but in the long run, it was worth it. Why did I involve other people? Not sure why, but it still stuns me that someone can cheat, utterly betraying their partner, and then essentially ask, why didn't you keep my complete betrayal of you a secret? You know, after we hung up, it dawned on me that she involved someone else in our relationship, not me. I wish I had thought of that while still speaking to her. I am so sorry you're experiencing this, but you hit the nail on the head. If she brings it up again, smack her with the facts. Best of luck to you always. Man, I wish like hell you were my local friend. I'd come by for support and make sure cooler heads prevailed with all of this. You seem like you're staying strong through this, and you've handled everything to perfection up to this point. Stay strong. Get your emotions out when she's gone. You will need to get your emotions out, or else it'll drive you insane. Don't internalize them. Feel them, either alone or with those you feel comfortable with, like your sister or friends. Just don't give the ex any satisfaction. She deserves none. Once they're out, work on being a better you. Hit the gym, read up on something that'll advance your career or just make you a better person. Spend time with your friends. Whatever your thing is, do it. Pamper yourself in the coming days and weeks. You'll need it to start healing. All the best to you, bro. Second update. Well, she's gone. She did show up with her mom and her best friend in tow, and my sister was there. No screaming, no yelling. She asked if I could just speak to her alone, and I told her that wouldn't be a good idea. I said everything she needed to say. She said it in her text messages with her boyfriend. Of course, the tears started and her mom said that they'd make this as quick as possible. So her and her friend went and got some of her stuff, enough for a day or two. While she was gone, her mom apologized to me and said she didn't raise her daughter this way. And she asked if the guy is really married. And I said, yeah, he's married. Her mom seems pretty shattered by this whole thing. So as they got ready to leave, I asked, what about my ring? Since it doesn't seem to mean all that much to you. Her friend opened her mouth like she was going to say something, and I shot her a look, and she immediately shut her mouth. I wouldn't take any bet in Vegas that her friend didn't know what she did this whole time. She covered her hand like she wasn't going to give me the ring. And her mom said, give him the goddamn ring. So she handed her mom the ring, and her mom gave it to me and again told me how sorry she is. I just dropped it in my coffee table. I don't even want to look at it. I guess she's going to come back for the rest of her stuff tomorrow with her dad. My sister said she'd like to pull the little girl's hair out of her head. Her words, not mine. But right now, I'm so beaten down by all this. I just want to lay down and sleep. She has some nerve to try to keep the ring. Because that makes it real. She could pretend that it was just a bump in the road as long as she had the ring. Because if he really wanted to break up, he'd take it back. And he really wanted to break up, so he took it back. The amount of people that cheat and then are shocked their significant other breaks up with them is always surprising to me. My ex-wife got butthurt because I called her garbage after I found out she cheated on me. Some people don't have any shame, it seems. As someone who went through breaking off an engagement from a cheating partner just 2 weeks before the wedding, it hurt like hell at first, but in the long run, it was well worth it. Honestly, I would sleep with the boss's wife. My brother said the same thing. Do you know how things are going at the boss's house? No idea. I'm sure it's not fun there right now. I feel bad for the kids though. Last story. I took revenge on a cheating ex and I went overboard. Plus updates. Original post. So recently, I found out that my ex had a flirtatious relationship at work with one of her managers at a restaurant she works at. This involved dirty talking while on shift, compliments and photo sharing and plans to hang out. I found out and told her not to text the other guy again and blocked him. Well, something told me to check her phone again, and it didn't take less a full day for her to respond back to his texts on iMessage, thus continuing the contact of cheating on me. What's worst is how she described getting caught by me to be hilarious, funny, and that she'll reach out to this guy when we're done. She made me sound like a doormat, a joke, an option, as if everything we had was a plaything for her to play with. Feeling emasculated, embarrassed, and surprised she could ever talk about me like this to another man, I posted her incriminating screenshots to her social media feeds, Instagram and Snapchat stories since I had access to the accounts, and sent those screenshots to the guy she was cheating on me with, at her boss at work, since she was doing it with another manager at a restaurant. I also sent them to her mother, as she was texting this guy the whole week I was helping her mother move to her new home. The guy responded immediately, and her boss and mother has yet to respond. She later called me back to apologize about the ordeal, but the damage was already done, and I broke the news to her about what I did and to screw her. I think I went overboard as this is something I've never done. Take revenge on someone by screwing them over. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Well, you didn't release the pictures, so you're in the clear with that one. I've heard a saying once. It went something like, if something can be destroyed by the truth, it wasn't meant to be. If she didn't do anything wrong and you went overboard, she wouldn't be ashamed. Yep. I think this falls in the don't do anything you wouldn't want printed in the newspaper category. While we're taking Radma's advice, don't get tattooed anywhere a judge can see. And spend extra money on the things that go between you and the ground, such as shoes, tires, and your mattress. This is PG compared to the others I've read. Also, I can be petty, and I hate cheaters. So in my opinion, you went easy on her. I hope she loses the job, and if any of those guys are married or have a girlfriend, they get caught also. Better yet if they do, send a screenshots to them also. My ex was a waitress at a members-only exclusive restaurant in downtown San Diego. Everyone was banging everyone. I think it's pretty common in the restaurant industry. Her coworker told me she was banging one of the servers. I confronted her. She didn't bother with denials or even to downplay it. She said that after work, they all would go downstairs to another bar and unwind and get tipsy. And things just happened. That was 5 years of wasted time. It really did a number on my self-esteem for a minute. Fortunately, I met the love of my life 2 months later, and now we've been married 25 years, with no cheating. There is life and love after this. Be encouraged. I sent them to her mother as well, as I helped her mother move to her new house. All the while she was texting this guy. I wouldn't call this overboard. It was a lot, and many people just say screw it and move on without taking this sort of action. It's all understandable given your outrage at being played, and she deserves whatever comes her way. Now for the updates. I've seen that her boss has looked at the message I sent her of my ex cheating at work on the job with another restaurant manager. The boss hasn't replied yet, but she definitely knows now. Time will tell if she'll continue to be working there. Update 2. Apparently, she still has her job from the restaurant, and she's doing damage control from the social media posts. Update 3. She replied back to me letting me know the developments about what I posted, learning before and that only a person like me would care to see that happen. The conversation turned in a really ugly name-calling match. The damage has already been done. I'm being spiteful and I'm done talking with her. I'm going to desperately seek therapy and work on myself for the better. I didn't expect this to blow up, but I appreciate the advice all around. She never wanted me or deserved it all. Update 4. I contacted the owner and showed him pictures of what happened. He legally said he can't involve for situations that happened outside a restaurant, when the screenshots clearly show her and the manager flirting during the work day on the hour. I don't think he really wants to get involved. We live in an at-will employment state, meaning the employer can fire you for any reason other than an illegal one. So as uncomfortable as it is for her, the owner, the GM, the manager she cheated with, unfortunately she'll keep her job, but boy it will be uncomfortable working there. Final update. The guy she managed to cheat on me with is a single father co-parenting his son with another woman. I found out who the woman was and showed her all the screenshots. Unfortunately, she saw them texting each other for well over a year ago, and that she told him to not text her anymore because she doesn't want him hanging out with anyone that doesn't like the mother of their son. My ex-girlfriend knew her and was extremely rude and snobbish with her. They're not together anymore, so she didn't know the exact lengths of their relationship. However, she knew they texted each other a lot. To no surprise, their relationship also ended because he was also cheating on her at the same restaurant with another woman that worked there while their son was extremely young. For all the talk about how my ex-girlfriend didn't want to be a single mother and how she despised her father for cheating on her mother while she was pregnant, she sure loved playing the role as the other woman.